Hello everybody, this is the JUSTPADRIDE Snowboard channel. I'm Lars Horstman. I'm at Fernie Alpine Resort on Elk Chair on a beautiful, what is it today, Thursday morning. I don't have much time, but I need to share a couple of thoughts with you guys that have been bugging me a little bit. It's a bit of a serious talk here today. And this is going to go into, basically, I want to call it elitism and judgment and gatekeeping, maybe even, when it comes to carving and when it comes to the good old discussion about snowboard stance, duck versus posi, and all these things. So let's get going here with this chat. My channel is growing quite rapidly in a way, and of course the more people you get into a platform like this, the more opinions you get into it as well. And I am starting to attract some people that are actually not very nice. Some people call them trolls. I'm not quite sure whether they are actually trolls, the ones I have in mind right now, or whether they are serious, which would be worse. So as I said, this is going to be about carving, and I find it quite interesting to observe that when it comes to carving on a snowboard, there's basically two crowds that are very heavily attacking each other, or sometimes attacking me or whatever. And that is either the people who strongly believe that 15 minus 15 duck stance with your upper body and shoulders and hips always in line with the board, and the only thing that is turning is your head. That's the one crowd. They strongly believe that that is the only way to snowboard. And then there's the other crowd, which is much smaller, but not less militant, and that is mostly, I believe, older guys who have an alpine background and are racing. And yeah, that's a tough one already, to combine these two crowds. Now, I find it interesting how they deal with each other or how they deal with me. I am personally an outcomes-oriented person. And what I mean with that is, I don't really care how you set up your board. I care about what I see on snow and whether that can be improved by applying better technique, or maybe sometimes even by changing the stance. I think, generally speaking, you can carve in any stance. There's plenty of examples out there that demonstrate that beyond well. But there's some nuance that needs to be applied, right? Like you're seeing downsides and upsides of different stances, and I want to say, as you go along the spectrum between plus 15, minus 15, and then 60 degrees on both feet for like full-on alpine racing, as you go along that spectrum, you will find that at certain points in the spectrum you actually have to change your riding technique. And it's almost a whole different sport altogether. And when you understand that, and the experts among you do understand that, then all this judgment and all this gatekeeping can basically go out of the window, because it's completely unnecessary. Why would you tell someone on an alpine race board that he can't do switch 540s? He doesn't want to. He's not going to. So the idea of like, well, but duck is so versatile, you shouldn't go posi. That's just a stupid discussion, because the people that choose to go posi, well, maybe they don't want to ride switch. And if that's not you, then that's totally fine. And therefore you will possibly have to make some adjustments to your riding technique if you want to achieve the same level of carving, or, well, you're not going to achieve the same level, but a high level of carving. So, there's ups and downs to both sides, and it's just silly to have these wars in the comments under my videos. So I want to give you the two examples of the spectrum here. So the alpine guys quite often, in my opinion, create some sort of elitism and act a bit like gatekeepers, because all they do is quite often they just shit on everything. Like, oh yeah, you're riding duck, you're a kook, what are you even thinking? You're on a freestyle board, blah blah blah. Like, it doesn't help anybody. My platform is about constructive criticism. Constructivity, is that a word in English? I want to get people to think and to reflect and have conversations with me and exchange opinions, but in a constructive way, and not just by saying, well, what you're doing is all wrong and what that guy's doing is all wrong, but I'm not going to tell you what's right, I'm just going to shit on everything. That's not constructive. And it creates something that I actually believe contributes to further division among snowboarders, and that is this elitism, where the freestyle crowd will never stop looking at the alpine crowd as some weird kook folk, and that is just unnecessary on both sides. So stop that elitism and the gatekeeping, share your secrets, you're much more useful doing that. Then there's the other side, the 15-15 duck crowd. Quite often those are people that are either instructors of a lower level, level 1, level 2, or they are people who have had a lot of lessons in that kind of riding ability level. And this idea of 15-15 and only spinning your head into the direction you're going without any kind of rotation of the pelvis or upper body, that is beginner riding, because it forces you to work with your feet. And that is very important, to learn torsional flex of a board and to learn steering with the knees and all that kind of stuff. Super important. Any experienced instructor at a level 3 and up, here in Canada it's 4 levels, so the level 4s all know this, will tell you that eventually you have to leave this fairly rigid position and open your hips and your chest a little bit to the riding direction. And there's benefits to that. I'm not going to go into all of this. I'm following the laws of physics and biomechanics. And as I said earlier, things change as you go along the spectrum. And I'm trying to explain this in ways that are understandable for everybody. And if you don't want to go down that road and you're just, used to your ways and that's how you're happy, well, that's totally fine. I don't think anybody really cares. I'm basically just trying to invite people to ditch this militant approach to everything snowboard carving. I just don't get it. Those two extremes, that we don't have to fight each other. We can actually combine ideas and maybe create something new, which is really a little bit what I'm doing. When you look at my stance, I'm not that aggressive. Today I'm like mounted +6 on the back foot. That's barely more than 0. And 27 on the front. But anyways, this doesn't exist in freestyle, if you've ever thought about that. Nobody talks about how shit some high-level riders' method is over the other ones. We are talking about, I don't like it, I prefer this guy's style. And then somebody else says, no, I actually don't like that guy's style at all, I prefer this guy's style. So all of a sudden we are able to talk about style and about personal preference and about the visual appeal of a certain rider or style. And in carving, for some reason, it's just right or wrong. And I just want to invite you guys to look at outcomes rather than methods. So, try to enjoy what you see. And of course, if somebody does all kinds of things wrong and the lines aren't clean in the snow, maybe you can help them. But this elitism about this is right, this is wrong, and also I'm not going to tell you how to do it better, it just doesn't help anybody. And that is not the purpose of my channel or my own mindset. So yeah, take that or leave it. That was my chairlift talk for the day. I'm at the top and I'm going to do a couple nice turns before I have to head to a real job today. It's Thursday. All right, take care everyone. See you out there.